even know if my strokes were good enough to try this string. HYPER-G from Solinco. I've been testing this string for the last couple weeks here. If you don't already know, HYPER-G kind of sits in the middle between Tour Bite on the stiffest side, on the stiffer side, and then Tour Bite Soft being on the softer side. Just checking out the packaging, I love Solinco's packaging. I think they put like good thought into it. It feels cool on your fingers. This one's a little bit slicker. There's a little window right in there where you can see into the strings. You can kind of see what's going on in here. And just the color is sick. Just lime green, neon lime green. The string is super, super slick and smooth actually, like in your fingers. It is still four-sided. You can feel it. And it was actually really pleasant to string up. Some of these polys are actually kind of hurt your fingers when you string it up. I strung this up at 43 pounds. I love stringing low tension. I've been testing it out for like a long time now. Let's see, AI 98. This is the Ivanovich, 310 grams. It's a 16 by 19. Nice and flexy, especially flexy in the throat. But you can just see how this thing looks. Oh my gosh, it's so crazy when you're coming from a string, like, you know, a gray string like Tour Bite or something like that. You don't notice your string bed at all when you're playing. Put this in, the first thing I noticed, you're conscious of the string bed as you're playing, as you're swinging. Your eyes can see this just neon flash of color, and it's honestly kind of cool. It's very exciting, and it makes you feel good. Honestly, it was a fun string to use. First thing I noticed was a lot more control than my normal setup. That line that I imagine, that what I'm aiming for, that the ball's gonna go down, was definitely tighter with this string. On the Tour Bite Soft, I have to add like a ton of more margin into my shots, because it can get away from you, especially with a racket like this, which is flexy. And the next thing I noticed, grip on the ball. It initially didn't have as much grip as Tour Bite. You know, maybe at first I was like, okay, like it says right here, intense spin and bite. I'm like, where is it? It's there, it's there. Initially doesn't have as much grab on the ball, but the resulting actually spin on the ball is actually, I think, more than like a Tour Bite Soft. And you could see that on my serves. The thing was kicking a lot more than it normally would. And it was kind of unexpected. I wasn't like, you know, I wasn't serving super hard or super aggressive or anything. And I've noticed this thing really kind of diving in there and then kind of jumping off. The other thing, comfort. It was definitely a lot softer than I thought. I had imagined. Like I said, I think of a lot of these types of strings as stiff, boardy, just kind of, yeah, like a board. Not as much pocketing as Tour Bite Soft, but that was to be expected. You get more of a kind of full bed feel. But the trade-off is control. Definitely noticed a ton of balls that appeared that they were gonna fly, and like were launched and appeared they're gonna fly, but they just dove right back in at the last minute, and people be throwing their arms up in disbelief, in disgust. I don't know about you guys, but I love the feeling of when somebody lets a ball go, like they think it's going long, and like they don't play it, and then it literally goes in like it's in by like a foot. What was the most surprising thing with the string? I'd have to say the launch angle, like up front. It took me a minute. I wasn't actually expecting the launch angle to be like that. But it definitely has a launch angle on it. Now, I was running at 43 pounds, so I know that will increase it for sure. But a lot of times I fall back on the forehand, and that opens up the chest, and you kind of open up to the sky, and you launch the ball. I have to be very careful with doing that, especially on a string like this. Based on groundies, you could just go full swing, even at 43 pounds for me. And I have to go full racket head speed to get that, to really get that big heavy ball out of it. Short balls, probably the hardest ball for me is short balls, because a lot of times I kind of, They're easy to just overhit, you know, for me. So I did have the confidence on the string to just really flick them up and over, just keep that racket head speed nice and up, just flick those things right and over, even to their forehand side, which typically I don't go for. I actually felt a lot more confident on that side with the string. On the serve, not as much initial bite on the bed at contact, but a ton of action coming off the ground, bouncing all over the place. Returns, I felt like I could take a nice whack at the return on like a sitter return. And the slice backhand, I use the slice backhand exclusively. On the slice backhand, I noticed I had to definitely stay with the shot, not like pull off. If you did, that ball would fly. But it kind of, again, maybe improved my form a little bit just by thinking about that. Just a couple questions from the internet on HYPER-G. Lift or Die asks, does HYPER-G twist when stringing? Lift or Die, yes, it does twist a little bit, not that much, but I think what he's talking about is, since it's four-sided, does it twist to the point where it's kind of like ruining your four sides, you know? It's softening that that kind of harsh angle. But it does twist a little bit. I don't think it's a problem. This string has plenty of spin. Next question from Matthew. He says, Matthew asks, do you think putting HYPER-G in on an AI-98 at 59 pounds would be too much? To me, that's just, I think that's way too high. I don't know why you need to play at 60 pounds with a string like this. I think if you did, you would have to restring very often, just, you know, to keep that comfort level up, or if there's any comfort. Maybe, I'd say try maybe 55 and then work your way from there, down from there. Overall thoughts on the string? In order to use this string, I really think you need to string at a lower tension and then be using it in the right racket. You need to use a thinner gauge, like 17 or up. And then I think the biggest thing is you have to restring often. These strings are not made for to keep in there for months on end. It's just not how it works. As that string loses its elasticity, it's gonna lose its comfort, it's gonna stiffen up, and you're gonna start to feel it. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought of HYPER-G. Are you using it? What do you want me to review next? What kind of questions do you have? Can't wait to be back for the next one. Peace.